Now it's time for the keynote talk. Our first keynote speaker is Professor Bal Virdee, London Metropolitan University, UK. Professor Bal Virdee is Director of the Centre for Communication Technologies Research Group. Professor Bal Virdee graduated with a BSc Honours in Communication Engineering from Leeds University. He obtained his PhD from the University of London. He has worked as an academic both at Open University and Leeds University. Prior to his academic roles, he served as a research and development electronic engineer in the Future Products Department at Teledyne Defence and Space in West Yorkshire and at PYE TVT, now the Broadcast Centre for Philips in Cambridge. Throughout his career, he has shouldered various responsibilities at the university, including roles such as Health and Safety Officer, Postgraduate Tutor, Examination Officer, Admissions Tutor, Short Course Organizer, and Course Leaders for MSc Satellite Communication, BSc Communication System, and BSc Electronics. Before assuming the position of professor in 2012, he held the role of academic leader. In addition, he actively contributed to the university community by serving as a member of the Ethical Committee, the School's Research Committee, and the Research Degree Committee. I invite you, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. To do a keynote presentation at ICICC. I'd like to thank the ICICC with what not to speak. I'm truly honored to be among a company of distinguished guests, dignitaries, and of course, you delegates. I'd like to thank the SHAHEED State College of Business Studies for hosting the conference, and I'm very impressed by the activities, vision of this institution to be a center of excellence. Professor Ratnabali talked about the Stone Age when the stone was the pinnacle of technology. I'd say this era is the era of sand age. And you might be thinking, what do I mean by the sand age? The silicon processor in your laptops, in your smart computers, is based on silicon sand. So the microprocessor is the heart of the computer, the smartphone. So I would say that it's the silicon age. I would imagine, yeah. So my background, originally I used to work in industry. I worked for Teledyne, Space and Defence, and I used to develop guidance systems for missiles and also wireless communications. And I also worked in industry for Philips in Cambridge, developing the wireless systems before I went into academia. I joined University of North London, which combined with Guildford University in 2012 to become London Metropolitan University. That is where I am at the moment, and I've worked for various other institutions in the UK. So my presentation is on 6G mobile wireless communications vision, roadmap, technologies, and research, you will see that there's a lot of research. I'm just going to give you some background on this particular area, and you will see that there is a lot of research being or needs to be done in this area. My presentation will have a little bit of technical jargon in it, but I'll try to use as little jargon as possible. So, without further ado, what exactly is 6G? Well, 6G is the sixth generation of mobile communications technology. It does not exist at the moment, but research and development has started. There is a big competition between USA, Europe, China, Japan, Korea. The question is, who will be the first to develop the technology to win the big prize? You may be asking, what's the big prize? Well, there's several things. Firstly, technology leadership. Secondly, economic growth. What do I mean by economic growth? I mean creation of jobs, increased revenue, right? Thirdly, innovation ecosystem. By that I mean a strong research and innovation culture. Fourthly, it gives your country national security. And fifthly, it gives the country geopolitical influence as well. So those are the 5 key prizes, whoever develops this technology. Roughly speaking, every 10 years, every 10 years or so, a new generation of mobile technology comes along, which promises of being better than the existing technology. The new technology invariably fixes any issues, glitches, or limitations of the current technology, and it should be much better than the existing technology. So this slide shows you how the technology progressed from 1G to 2G in the 1990s to 3G in 2000, 4G in 2010, and recently 5G. Okay, let's have a look at the evolution of the mobile technology. Some of you here today may not be aware that the original system used to be analog in nature, and we could only make voice calls. 1G systems evolved into 2G communications technology, and then 2G allowed us to transmit SMS messages. From 2G, there was 3G, and 3G was broadband technology. It enabled us to access the web on the go. We could access emails, multimedia apps, and social media. The next iteration in the evolution of wireless technology was 4G. This technology significantly increased data rates with reduced latency. What I mean by latency delay, 4G allowed us to stream in real-time videos, allowed us to play games, and make high-quality video calls. The innovation of the smartphone was a real game changer. And this was thanks to Steve Jobs, who was responsible for this innovation. As you know, smartphones enable us to browse the web, stream videos, and share photos. All this can be done on the go. Ever since the advent of smartphones, the mobile traffic has doubled each year. And the exceptional growth in data traffic seems to be unceasing. We all have an insatiable appetite for social media. After all, we are social creatures. If you look at statistical data, you will see that the average mobile users is downloading a whopping 1 terabyte of data in 2020. Just think about it. This is equivalent to each of us watching more than 1,000 feature-length movies. You may ask, really, 1,000 movies? I personally only watch a few movies a year. but 1,000 movies is very excessive. The reason why we are using so much data is because we have become bewitched by social media. We love watching and creating content for YouTube and TikTok. This means that 5G one day will eventually not be able to cope with the volume of data we are creating every second. There are other factors that are dictating the need for 6G. We want all electronic gadgets, appliances, and sensors to talk to each other using IoT devices. We now have the emergence of self-driving cars. We want entertainment which is immersive in nature, for example, augmented reality and virtual reality. We also want high definition video streaming, remote mobile healthcare, and drone-based delivery. All these technologies need extremely fast, low latency internet, and they use a lot of data. I mean, really a phenomenal amount of data. 5G is currently being deployed across the world. So many of you here may not have experienced the real power of 5G. 5G was developed to provide higher data rates with lower latency compared to 4G speed sector. It also provides high reliability and network security. 5G networks can support a much larger number of devices than previous generations and can also handle more data-intensive applications such as virtual and augmented reality, autonomous vehicles, and IoT. 5G is also a key driver for technologies such as edge computing and AI. As I've said earlier, we are experiencing an exponential growth in mobile traffic. This is fueled by massive data-driven applications like TikTok and the emerging technology like driverless cars and the need for ultra-fast connections and low latency. Since 2018, the number of TikTok downloads has exploded from 100 million to 1,600 million. This trend illustrates the growth of traffic from just one application. By 2030, on average, the annual data created, captured, copied, consumed per person will be about 1.3 trillion gigabytes, not bits, gigabits. In a decade's time, we'll need a new wireless mobile technology that will be able to cope with a humongous volume of data in a very smart and efficient way. This technology is going to be 6G. If 5G is being launched just now, you may be asking, why are we talking about 6G? Well, to answer this question, let's look at the timeline in the development of different generations of mobile technologies. You can see the process of evolution of a generation of technology takes at least 1 decade. This is because it takes many years to conduct research and development and test the technology, which is necessary to iron out any glitches. As you can see in this slide, the 3G standards were set in 1999, the 4G in 2009, 5G in 2019. If we go along with this trend in technological development, we should expect that 6G standards be formulated by 2029. Who is standardizing 6G? Well, all wireless communications technology was standardized by the International Telecommunications Union, or ITU. ITU is a specialized agency of the United Nations. It is responsible for issues that concern the information, communications, and technology. The radio communications part of ITU, or ITUR, is responsible for creating the conditions for harmonizing the development and efficient operation of existing and new radio communication systems. ITUR considers the recommendation of other standard development organizations that FPO, like 3GPP, which stands for Third Generation Partnership Project, European Telecommunication Standards Institute, IEEE, and others. In simple language, the objective of ITUR is to ensure interference-free operation of radio communication systems at a global level. It is responsible for defining the 6G vision and requirements. In this slide, the corners of the triangle represent the three key parameters that are used to characterize a wireless communication system. I mean, speed and throughput, the cables of the triangle, connection density on the left-hand corner, and latency or delay on the right-hand corner. The focus of 2G was primarily on voice and SMS. The focus of 3G was centered around data and speed. The focus of 4G was centered around data, speed, and low latency to support broadband internet. 5G, in addition to achieving even faster data speeds and reduced latency, the emphasis was put on enhancing communication density, machine-to-machine communication, and the Internet of Things. This triangle shows the high-level vision of 5G defined by ITU. One focus of 5G was on improving the overall user experience of wireless technology by enhancing mobile broadband, represented here by EMBB, and fixed wireless access, or FWA. The second focus was on increasing machine-to-machine connection density, as 5G is expected to support up to 1 million devices per square kilometer. The third focus of 5G was on improving communication reliability and reduced latency. This is very crucial for applications such as driverless cars and laying the foundation for industrial Internet of Things. NR RedCap is a new technology. It represents radio reduced capability devices. This is the new requirement from 3GPP under release 17. NR RedCap are devices that are jack of all trades but master of none. Examples of NR RedCap devices include smart watches, wireless medical devices, augmented reality or virtual reality goggles, industrial wireless sensors, and video surveillance. This slide shows a spider diagram of 5G technologies. You can see the focus of enhancing mobile broadband, that's EMBB, which is shown in the pink line, is to achieve the highest possible data rate. EMBB does not care about the cost or the life of the battery. Ultra reliable low latency communication, that's URLLC, which is shown in the green line, is focused on achieving high reliability with low latency. The two IoT technologies shown in the blue lines focus on long battery life, low cost, and improved coverage. NR RedCap, the black line, is equally focused on all the requirements, but this is only partial. This slide shows Samsung 6G Vision. In Samsung 6G Vision, machine installed in various infrastructures, construction machineries, and factory equipment will be connected to each other by means of wireless communications. This includes vehicles, robots, drones, home appliances, digital displays, and smart connectivity. Haptic and tactile communication will also become prominent. Also, according to Samsung, AI will be key there in efficiently using wireless infrastructure resourcing. Okay, the use of augmented reality or AR is gaining momentum, as you know. In AR, as you know, virtual information and objects are overlaid on the real world. This technology is finding application in various fields. Engineers and surgeons, for instance, can benefit from immersive AR training where you can simulate complex scenarios. This hands-on approach allows us to refine our skills and enhance our decision-making process in a controlled environment. Moreover, the entertainment industry has embraced AR to create a captivating and interactive gaming experience. In this clip, the second girl from the left was AR, helping the other girls with choreographing the dance. So that's another example of AR. MR, which stands for mixed reality, allows the physical and virtual worlds to create an immersive experience that goes beyond the traditional technologies can offer. This immersive sensation appeals to users to provide a more engaging and interactive experience. MR allows users to interact with digital content in a more natural and intuitive way. It enables gestures, voice commands, and spatial computing, making the interaction seamless and user-friendly. This clip shows you mixed reality. Standard reality, that's XR, is an umbrella term that encapsulates all immersive technologies. We already have a lot of potential use cases of XR, and this will become even popular with time. As you saw in the previous video clip, XR is used for training surgeons in a virtual environment before they perform actual surgeries. It is used for virtual prototyping, enabling automotive engineers to visualize and test designs in a virtual space. It is used to enable students to explore places virtually, provide immersive learning experiences. XR is a technology still in its infancy. With 6G, it will have a great impact on everyone and everything, from transforming how children learn and play to help people with disabilities and everything in between. XR is one of the areas my research team is developing for the blind and visually impaired people. Generating holograms requires a lot of bandwidth. This is because unlike traditional 2D images or video, holograms need to represent depth, perspective, and a multiple viewing angles. Some applications will require real-time rendering, especially in dynamic environments like AR. Research at various universities around the world are currently carrying out ways to generate holograms in real time using AI. Examples include MIT in the USA, or using new methods called tensor holography. Hopefully, 6G will be able to bring this technology to reality. This will help one day to have this cool technology. For the volume is here. And I believe that 6G will enable teleportation. By teleportation, I mean you can be in a virtual space, like in a meeting room, like in this clip here from the movie Kingsman. But the kind of teleportation in Star Trek will not be possible with 6G. Okay, so we won't be able to telephone each other. Okay. This slide shows you the timeline between, the timeline taken to develop the previous wireless communication technologies. Sometimes new technologies are not quite ready when we want them to be. To give an example, one of the candidate technologies for 3G was orthogonal frequency division multiplexers, or ORDMA. However, this technology did not make it to 3G because the chipset and the computing power at that time was not powerful enough to handle this technology. As a result, 3G had to do with inferior technology that was called wideband code division multiplex access, or WCDMA. Eventually, OFDMA was adopted as part of 4G, which was 10 years later, when the chipsets were powerful enough to handle this technology. Similarly, in-band full duplex was touted as a revolutionary breakthrough technologies for 5G. Unfortunately, this technology proved to be too challenging to implement, and research is still continuing to develop this technology. This slide shows the operation of half duplex, where the uplink, that is UL, and the downlink, that's VL, connections to and from the smartphone to the base station are done separately. This type of connection is expensive on bandwidth, and there's a separate band required for uplink and the downlink. However, it's possible to develop the technology. Full duplex will enable devices to transmit and receive using the same bandwidth. This will save a lot of cost because, as you know, bandwidth is very expensive. Just to give you an example of how expensive a bandwidth is, a bandwidth of just 2 megahertz in the UK costs around about 15 billion sterling, pound sterling, just 2 megabytes of bandwidth. So there is a race on I'm talking about research development, race on developing full duplex technology so that it can be adapted for 6G. This slide shows NTT Docomo 6G requirements through 5G evolution. In addition to the new requirements that were not considered in 5G, NTT Docomo, which is a Japanese company, has added sensory capabilities, high precision positioning the devices free from battery charging. Research in harvesting ambient Wi-Fi energy is going on. All the Wi-Fi that's being transmitted here, for example, we can actually harvest the energy to power devices, right? So research in that area is needed. Now, this energy obviously can be used to power wireless sensor networks, IoT devices, and other applications.
Hello.
In this slide, different generations of wireless communication technologies. Note with 6G, the maximum download speed is estimated to be 1 terabyte per second. However, in practice, the average download will be around about, I would imagine, 1 gigabit per second, which is still significantly more than 5G. China officially launched its research and development in 6G mobile networks back in 2019. In fact, the Ministry of Science and Technology set up 2 working groups. The first group consists of government agencies responsible for promoting 6G research and development, and the second group, called the China 6G Wireless Technology Task Force, consisted of vendors, operators, research agencies, and universities. The purpose of the second group is to form a panel tasked with laying out the development of 6G and its scientific feasibility. The Chinese government invested more than $30 billion towards developing 5G. It is investing a similar amount in developing 6G. Other countries have invested a much smaller stimulus effect in developing 6G technologies. For example, South Korea is only spending $169 million. USA about $3 billion. Europe $2 billion. Japan $2 billion. I'm not sure how much India is spending, but there's a lot of research and development that needs to be done to develop 6G. Okay, this slide shows you the architecture of 6G. I've actually broken it down into left-hand side, the network, the middle, connectivity, and on the right-hand side, the devices. Let me quickly have a review of the previous technologies from 2G to 5G. Let's look at the architectures very, very quickly. The radio access network of 2G and 3G is used to connect smartphones and base stations. The backhaul is used to connect the access network to the core network. The purpose of the core network is to split the voice and the data in the communication signal. It is also to provide, and it's also there to provide security and authentication. Now, voice signals in 2G and 3G are handled by circuit switch networks, and data is handled by packet switch networks. The problem with this arrangement is that the core network cannot be scaled to handle a large volume of signaling data. Now, this slide shows you a flat network architecture that is used for 4G. It has a single core called the Evolved Packet Core, EPC. This architecture is scaled to handle a large number of connected devices as well as varying traffic. The 4G architecture is flexible for central or distributed management. The weakness with the central management is that the user data, which is received at the base station, is sent to a remote processing center, and the data is then sent back to a server close to the recipient. The remote processing center can be hundreds of miles away. It introduces a lot of delay, which is not really good. The central architecture is unsuitable for real-time applications. For example, where you're monitoring machinery and processes. Yeah, because it's not fast enough to respond and give feedback. As I've just mentioned, the Evolved Packet Core, EPC, for 4G can be scaled so that it can handle a large amount of signaling and data. Control and user plane is separated to create a distributed core architecture, which is important to reduce latency. Okay, 5G has a new core network called the 5G core. This core includes access and mobility management function, AMF, session management function, SMF, and user plane function, UPF. 5G is based on service-based architecture. It uses HTTP protocols, making it easy to interface with applications. 5G allows all kinds of interesting innovations like true cloud-native core architecture that can be located near the user, contributing to lowering the latency and improved efficiency. In addition, it facilitates network slicing, enabling creation of virtual networks. And secondly, we can create new functions, network functionalities to support evolving user cases. And thirdly, it allows third-party access using APIs. Okay, to summarize, the 5G core uses a separate base architecture which is flexible and can be expanded. It can handle technologies like network function visualization, software-defined networks, and the need for cloud-based devices. Right now, I do not see a need for a 6G core network. 6G wireless technologies will be essential to unlock new experiences for us. It will merge the digital, virtual, and physical world to enable new services. Now, this table shows you areas of research currently being done to make 6G a reality. The research is in early stages, and includes AR and machine learning, satellite communications, using new technologies like metamaterials. Now, AR and ML will play a crucial role in automating networks for optimization of networks and user-specific customization. Satellites will be integrated into terrestrial networks to provide seamless communications. Metamaterials are new materials which are engineered specifically, and they should improve signal processing as well as increase data rate. Another area of research is quantum communications, and this will be used to enhance security and privacy. And finally, we're going to use a different part of the spectrum called the terahertz, and this will be used to increase data and reduce latency. Now, as I mentioned before, the price of developing 6G technologies is whoever develops 6G technologies will have leadership in technology. It will improve economic growth for the country. It will increase your innovation ecosystem and national security as well as geopolitical influence. And we have the technology to do that. So my area of research is communications technology, and within my school we have various research centers and groups. They include the Cybersecurity Research Center, Digital Operation Research in Mathematics, and these statistics shows you some of my research team, and on the bottom left is research students, and we are working on different areas of research, including wireless communications, computer networks, communication processing, biomedical devices, medical devices, system technology, as well as robotics. Thank you so much.
Now it's time for the second keynote talk. Professor Vivek. Professor Vivek Bohara, Triple IT, Delhi. Dr. Vivek Ashok Bohara received the PhD degree from Nanyang Technological University, Singapore in 2011. From 2011 to 2013, he was a postdoctoral researcher, Marie Curie Fellowship in ESIEE Paris, University Paris East, where he was actively involved in designing and implementing critical blocks for wideband RF transmitters. Specifically, he proposed numerous green communication techniques to reduce power consumption and increase efficiency of nonlinear higher power amplifiers used in RF transmitters. In 2013, he joined Triple IT Delhi, India, where he is currently Professor, Department of Electronics and Communication Engineering. He has authored and co-authored over 100 publications in major IEEE IET journals and referred in international conferences, 2 book chapters, 5 patents. Dr. Bohara also supervises the Virocom Research Lab at Triple IT Delhi, which deals with state-of-the-art research in wireless communication and allied area, and is also the co-founding faculty member for Li-Fi Center of Excellence at Triple IT Delhi. His research interests are next-generation communication technologies such as visible light communication (VLC), hybrid RF VLC communication, integration of optical communication with intelligent reflective surfaces (IRS), UAV, and vehicular communication. Dr. Bohara received first prize in National Instruments ASEA and Virtual Instrumentation Applications contest in 2007 and 2010. He was also the recipient of the Best Paper Award at IEEE ANTS 2002 and the Best Poster and Demo Awards at IEEE CompsNet's 2016 and 2023 conferences, respectively. Keynote topic is Towards Next Generation of Vehicular Communication Technologies. We welcome you, sir.
Uh, Good afternoon to all. I'm Professor Vivek Bohara, and thanks to Dr. Ashish for inviting me for the keynote talk, and thanks to the SUKHDEV College of Business Studies for hosting such a wonderful conference. So, as introduced, I'm Professor Vivek. I am from IIIT Delhi, and I'm also a chair of IEEE Communications at Delhi chapter, and I'm also sorry, let me start again. So I am Professor Vivek Bohara from IIIT Delhi. I am also a chair for IEEE Communication Society Delhi chapter, and I'm also the TIH Foundation faculty fellow from IIT Bombay. So my talk is basically thanks to Professor Virdee. He's already covered the standards part of it, so maybe I will skip the standards part of it and will go to the crux of the talk, the vehicular communication talk. So that outline is something like this. So this is the introduction to. The latency is very small. Okay. So introduction to wireless silver standard that have already been covered by Professor Virdee, so I will not go into details of it. And then I will move to vehicular communication, current vehicular communication standards, followed by vehicular visible light communication. RIS, as Professor Virdee mentioned, is one of the things that we are looking forward in 6G. So briefly covered what is reflective intelligent surfaces, then fiber wireless based V2I networks, and followed by conclusion. Just a brief introduction. So as I mentioned, I'm also leading a Wiracom research group in IIIT Delhi. We have around 10 plus PhD students. Right now it's 15, I guess. And I've been working with Professor Anand Srivastava. Now he has moved as a VC for NSUT. So both of us were in the same group, and we have a lot of collaborated papers as well. And we also have the Center of Excellence on LIFA that is completely being funded by European Union, and partly by a lot of hardware and everything by Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, as well as various grants from DST. And we are also hosting a lot of dignitaries from India and abroad towards this LIFA Center of Excellence. And if you want to visit sometime IIIT Delhi, please feel free to visit this Center of Excellence in LIFA as well. So as I mentioned, this is Center of Excellence. Again, Professor Anand Srivastava and me and Dr. Gaurav Ghatak from IIT Delhi are part of it. And we have been working on Li-Fi for now sort of ages. We were the first one in India to demonstrate sort of with startup Valmini that we can actually do some sort of gigabits per second transmission using Li-Fi devices. So this is what brief introduction about me, my lab, and about the research centers, whatever we are hosting in IIIT Delhi. And apart from that, I'm also offering 2 NPTEL courses. And the first one is the Fundamentals of Wireless Communication. The good part is both the courses are in Hindi. And so if you see, a lot of materials are available in English, but I've taken this effort to offer both the courses in Hindi. First is Fundamental of Wireless Communication, that is offered during the monsoon semester. Again, it's completely online, free of cost from SWAYAM NPTEL portal for Ministry of MHRD. Second is the Advanced Topics in Wireless Communication. Again, this is also in Hindi. And this registration has just now started, and we already have around 3,500 plus enrollments from the students across India. So this is a brief overview of sort of my teaching, history and research history. Now coming back to the actual talk, so as Professor Virdee already mentioned, sort of 5G standard is something that we are looking forward to, and India has a lot of impetus. At least the government has a lot of impetus towards 5G. And if you remember, last October we have this thing where India already has more than 2 lakh deployments in 5G base stations. And as Prof Virdee already rightly mentioned, in terms of grant, there is not exact figure how much India is spending, but in terms of initiatives, I can say that we are doing lots and lots of it. So IIIT Delhi is also one of the institutions which got this 5G labs. I think there was an announcement during Mobile India Congress where 100 institutions were given the 5G labs hardware, and IIIT Delhi is one of them. And as you can see, the evolution of 5G and Wi-Fi is sort of similar. And every mobile phone, if you're using, either you connect internet either through 5G or 4G or through Wi-Fi. These are 2 basics commercially available means to connect to the internet. Apart from that, the Ethernet and all these things, I'm just talking about in terms of wireless. Either it's going to be Wi-Fi or it's going to be cellular. And as 5G and beyond 5G networks, again, I will not go into details of it. This is the growth. 5G was more toward 3 main verticals: enhanced mobile broadband, ultra reliable low latency communication, and massive machine type communication. Then 6G maybe include AI, ML, RIS, immersive communication, teleportation, holographic beamforming, and all these things as well. Okay. And so if you see, India has already taken a lead. So we were slightly delayed when it came to 3G or 4G, but in terms of 5G, we are not at par, but at least we are really catching up with other parts of the world, whether it's US, Europe, and South Korea. And 6G timelines, I think was briefly again covered. So right now we are in era of 5G. Going forward, we will be in era of 6G. Maybe some sort of timelines is around 2030. We may see the first set of 6G standards as well. And a lot of capabilities of 6G were already highlighted in the previous talk, so I will not go into details of it. For some of them, as was mentioned, was teleportation, maybe one of them, and holographic beamforming was maybe one of them, and AR, VR, extended reality may be one of them. So these are few use cases of 6G that may be seen in the future. And in terms of India, I think I've already mentioned India. We already have started the Bharat 6G Alliance, that is initiated by Department of Telecommunication, and a lot of academia, industry, and government organizations are part of it. The main crux of this alliance is to create Atmanirbhar Bharat in 6G. So if you see till 5G, most of the equipment what we had in India were either imported or maybe sort of assembled in India. They were not true make in India. You got what I mean to say? With this initiative, government initiative of Atmanirbhar 6G Bharat, the initiative is that not only to develop products in India, but maybe to export 6G capabilities, technology, as well as products to outside world as well. So this is the government initiative, and a lot of academia, industry partners, government organizations are part of it. And we already had multiple meetings how to take this forward as far as India is concerned. So this is about the cellular part of it. Now let me come back to the main crux, vehicle-to-vehicle communication. Why vehicle-to-vehicle communication? And if you are a Delhiite or if you live in a metropolitan city, I don't need to motivate you enough why you need V2V, V2I, I2V, V2N, all sorts of means of communication. And if you go in the market today, you see at least 80% of cars are fitted with some sort of ADAS technology. I went to a showroom, MG showroom yesterday. MG's brought like boasting that they have the latest ADAS technology. I hope you know ADAS, advanced driver assistance systems, where you can detect and sense whether there is any pedestrian, whether there's another vehicle. And you see in India, the people cross the road like hardly anybody follows the traffic signal. I was in Singapore for 6 years. When I moved back to India after Singapore and Paris, I was scared to cross the road Because even if there is a red light, you can never know whether there is auto or e-rickshaw or a car can just hit you without even caring about it. That was not possible in Singapore. In India, it needs something like this so that a driver can be given a warning in advance. You got it? That is the crux. And if you see it, at least in Delhi, I've been living in Delhi for last 10 years. I will give the motivation behind it. So if you see in Delhi and all the metropolitan, these are not my slides. These are I've taken from news articles. The number of accidents, vehicular accidents in India is humongous. It's very difficult to drive in India, or even it's sort of scary to cross the roads in India. Even if you want to do some sort of jogging in the morning, it's impossible. There would be vehicles on the parking lot, there will be cars going on the parking lot, there would be vehicles on the pedestrian path. It's very difficult. And this statistic shows the same thing, what I'm just elaborating. You see, 500 people killed in road accidents every year. Tamil Nadu, we talk about any state in India, it's going to be the same story. And specifically in fog time, when you cross the Yamuna Expressway or Meerut Expressway or newly built Delhi-Jaipur Expressway, you can see the havoc, what sort of traffic it's creating. You got it? And it's very difficult time to drive in Delhi at least. And the most dangerous time to be on Delhi roads with number of vehicles piling up and a lot of people coming to Delhi for jobs and other purposes. And Delhi has a strata of all sides of people riding bicycles, people walking, people jogging, people having big Mercedes, BMWs, people having small compact hatchbacks. So it's very difficult to have something like a very good optimal transportation system for a city like Delhi. But this is the statistics. Again, I'm just putting some statistics so that in order to motivate why I'm working on something like this, such a crucial problem statement that is related to Delhi or India. You got it? So road accidents claim all these things. The statistics are publicly available. These are just news articles what I've taken from last 1 year. And I'm actually bringing the statistics from Ministry of Roadways, and you can see the road accidents India perspective. And I've skipped this one, which just says basically how the vehicles, whether it's cars, bikes, two-wheelers, how they interact and what sort of statistics we have with accident with respect to pedestrian vehicles. I will bring a notice to this specific statistics. This again I've obtained from Ministry of Highways. It's not my statistics, it's from government portal, so I can't deny it. And you can see all the number of accidents. In terms of accidents, India is third. But in terms of people killed, India is number one. This is what you can see from this slide. India is number one, number of persons killed. So we have the infamous distinction of being ranked number one in number of people killed in road accidents. And I think every family has someone, some relative, or some known people who have died or been fatally injured or maybe something related to road accident. So this is a problem I'm trying to tackle with some sort of new techniques that we have developed in-house in IIIT Delhi. We're doing sort of a lot of research and development. Okay. So road safety is an important issue. I think I already built a problem statement why road safety is an important issue, specifically with Indian context. It's not only about the accidents, but the time, the congestion, the waste of basically economic superpower and all these things because of this mess, whatever we have created in terms of transportation. And it's not only about India, even if I take a global perspective, about 1.535 million people die every year because of road accidents. Traffic injury is the leading cause of death among people between 5 and 29 years. And road traffic crashes cost countries 3% of their GDP. So this is what the road accident typically happens. And as you can see the stats again, the fault of driver is approximately 80% of the cause of road accidents. Although I'm calling it as a fault of driver, because the problem is the driver is not getting enough warning in advance. You got it? So suppose suddenly the vehicle moves in, a person who just starts crossing the road. You got it? So that is very difficult to manage. But if a driver is given appropriate warning in advance, obviously this can be avoided. You got it? So this can be avoided if appropriate warning can be given to the driver of the vehicle. So V2V, V2I and I2V. V2V means the two vehicles are communicating with each other. V2I means vehicle is communicating with the roadside unit, or I2V means infrastructure is communicating with the vehicles, can reduce around 80% of the traffic accidents. In general, all these terms V2V, V2I and I2V are basically combined into a single term known as V2X. X can be pedestrian, X can be another vehicle, X can be infrastructure, X can be network. So all this thing encompasses V2X. So you see vehicle to infrastructure, vehicle to network, vehicle to vehicle, and vehicle to pedestrian. And this is what V2X looks like. You can have a lot of applications of V2X, whether emergency message decimation, vehicle to pedestrian communication, and all these things. Okay. So connected vehicle applications, whether they can be broadly categorized into two parts. One is safety, where you are looking only towards the safety applications, how to avoid road accidents, how to avoid basically sort of pedestrian harming and all these things. And non-safety, where we have a lot of infitted car entertainment systems. Nowadays, all the cars have some sort of very good entertainment systems. So these two applications can be broadly categorized. My focus will be purely on the safety applications. So safety applications, again, there are a lot of things. Post-crash warning. Suppose there has crashes happened, how are you going to warn a driver which is behind the vehicle that has crashed? And that typically happens during the fog time. We are not able to see what is happening in the front. Suddenly the vehicle is crashed and you just crash on that same vehicle. You read always that the vehicle piled up in Yamuna Expressway, the vehicle piled up in Mumbai-Pune Express. Can we somehow avoid this thing by giving appropriate warning to the driver? Okay, there is a crash happened in the front, please drive safely or please slow down or something like that. This is something that we can work on. Blind intersection warning. Another problem is that blind intersection, suppose suddenly you're trying to overtake, there's another vehicle that is coming from the front. Can we avoid this one by giving appropriate warning to the car or the driver? Do not pass warning. Again, this is something like do not overtake or something like that, so that there's another vehicle coming from the front, so that you're well aware, do not overtake or something like that. Work zone warning or school zone warning. Instead of putting boards that are hardly visible to any of the drivers, maybe a warning can be given to a driver in advance. Okay, there is a school approaching, so work zone approaching, please drive slowly or something like that. Then pedestrian signalized crossing. This is one of the most important, at least in Indian context. You see a lot of pedestrian crossing like this. Maybe a appropriate warning can be given to a driver. There is a pedestrian and you're not able to see the pedestrian crossing the road. Maybe you can drive slowly or maybe just stop the car. And curve speed warning, again in hilly areas. India has a lot of hilly areas, and I see a lot of Delhi people going to Himalayas for drop of the hat during the weekends. This is something that can be given to the curve. There's a lot of curves. There's a vehicle coming from the front. Please drive slowly or please slow down the car. So these are a few warnings that can be given to the driver or the car itself when you're talking about autonomous car, so that some sort of appropriate decision can be taken by the driver. And when I talk about two different applications, one is V2V, where the two vehicles are communicating with each other, and V2I, where vehicle is communicating with the roadside unit, or a roadside unit is communicating with the vehicles. So these are different type of applications, like emergency vehicle warning, whether two vehicles want to communicate, blind spot warning, collision warning, post-crash warning, pre-crash warning. So these are different type of warning that can be given by one vehicle to another vehicle, or by a vehicle to the infrastructure. Then that infrastructure can communicate this warning to the other vehicles. So there are different ways through which this warning can be communicated to the other vehicles or the driver. Now coming back, even though warning is given, like there's an old saying that news is fresh as soon as you're receiving it the same day. If you're receiving a news that is next day, it's sort of obsolete. The freshness of a news, or freshness of the information matters a lot. Suppose a driver is given a warning after the crash has happened, it's of no use. Am I right? If suppose the crash has already happened, what's the use of that warning given to the driver? So there are few parameters that has to be taken into account before the warning is communicated to the driver of the vehicle or to the vehicle itself. Two main crux of the problem is the latency and the distance. Latency, as Professor Virdee already mentioned, is the delay. So if the warning is received very late, like after 10 minutes, it's of no use to a driver. The crash has already happened. The pedestrian has already been hit. So of no use to a driver. And apart from the distance, so if you're giving a warning just 5 meters away from the crash, it's again of no use. So this communication distance and the communication latency is a very, very important problem in a vehicle to vehicle or vehicle to infrastructure scenarios. Because without this appropriate delay or appropriate time and appropriate distance, this warning will make no sense. Am I right? So there are a lot of technologies. So as I've already mentioned, these are the two crux: collision warning. These are the LA means latency and RM means communication distance. And again, V2I. So there are different parameters that has to be taken into account while doing V2V communication or V2I communication. So that appropriate warning is given to the driver so that a collision can be avoided in time. Now, given this problem statement, given this performance metric that you want this much latency and you want this much communication distance, what are the existing technologies that can satisfy this requirement? I've given the motivation, I've given the requirement. Now let's go into existing technologies that can meet this requirement. And then different types of technologies exist. First is the DSR, dedicated short range communication. is known as vehicular Wi-Fi or vehicular access in the Wi-Fi access in vehicular environment. This is purely based on IEEE 802.11p standard. This is very well known. A lot of people, a lot of vehicles are typically using it. Second is cellular V2X or 5G V2X. This is again another technology that will help you to communicate between the different vehicles. Third is lot of Wi-Fi. The conventional Wi-Fi what you're using in your home or offices can also be used to facilitate communication between the two vehicles or vehicle to the infrastructure. Fourth is maybe visible light communication. That's what I'm going to talk about briefly in today's lecture. And maybe millimeter wave, again, a new area of research. A lot of people are working towards millimeter wave and going forward terahertz as well. That can be going, can have another technology through which the vehicles can communicate with each other. But in 2030, maybe there is some other technology we never know. Maybe with 6G and beyond 6G system, there can be another technology that can facilitate a better vehicle to vehicle communication. Now coming back to existing technologies. So existing, I will not go into all the details of it. I will just take two technologies that you are well aware of. One is the Wi-Fi. I think every mobile phone in this room has a Wi-Fi, and the cellular. Am I right? So these are two technologies that you typically use to connect the internet. But can I use the same technology to connect the vehicles? The problem statement is, can I use Wi-Fi or vehicular Wi-Fi 802.11p or your 4G systems or 5G systems to connect two vehicles or vehicles to the infrastructure? So this is what I'm discussing. So why vehicular Wi-Fi is already mentioned. It's based on what you have, the ad hoc network, fully distributed random access. And second is a cellular, that is a purely a structured sort of a network. And typically you see the problem with Wi-Fi is that if there are more number of users in the room, if everybody is trying to access the Wi-Fi, the throughput will go down. That usually happens during the classroom. I've seen teaching a classroom of 100 people. If everybody starts accessing through Wi-Fi, your throughput will go down. Same thing happens in airport stations. That's a major problem with Wi-Fi. Second comes the cellular. Cellular, although it's more structured, have an infrastructure-based sort of a communication, the problem is it's very expensive. You might have heard of 2G spectrum, 3G spectrum, 4G spectrum. Spectrum is very expensive. Whether it's worth spending so much money to get a spectrum for vehicular communication. So this is what I mentioned. So there are a lot of problems with Wi-Fi and cellular. Wi-Fi, as a number of users will increase, the channel congestion will increase, the throughput per user will decrease. The same problem is there in Wi-Fi vehicular. If there are more vehicles, at least in Delhi Road, I know from Govindpuri area or Kalkaji area from South Delhi, if there are more number of vehicles, each vehicle throughput will decrease and may not be good enough for achieving high data rate vehicular communication. Same problem is cellular V2X, because it's an infrastructure-based sort of a network. You need to pay for the spectrum, and I don't know whether it's worth enough to pay for a spectrum for vehicle-to-vehicle communication or vehicle-to-infrastructure communication. Okay. So these are broad 802.11 standards. I will not go into details of it. I've tried to minimize the equations and the more technical details. Now, with this given constraints in terms of existing technology, when I talk about cellular or vehicular Wi-Fi, can I do something else? Or can I do something? Can I move ahead and think out of the box? And this is what we thought of visible light communication. So visible light is something you see a lot of LEDs here. You see cars have LEDs nowadays. Even your two-wheelers have LEDs. Even the e-rickshaws have LEDs. Am I right? So can the same LEDs, whatever you're using in your cars, two-wheelers, be used as a mode of communication? You got it? So that is the problem statement that we are trying to address. Can the same LEDs what you have in your cars, can this be as a mode of communication? So visible light communication is a new area of research that we have been working on. And so visible light, if you see in terms of spectrum, there's a huge chunk of spectrum. And the good part about visible light is what you see is what you transmit. Am I right? So you cannot see beyond this wall. That means you cannot transmit beyond this wall. Am I right? So visible light is always going to be blocked with blockages. But the beauty of visible light is that it's sort of freely available. Till now, government is not going to charge for it because it's based on lighting technology, and lighting is so cheap. Government has this initiative of LED lighting distributed every household. So each LED lighting can be a potential transmitters. Am I right? And similarly, visible light spectrum is huge. And any common wireless philosophy says that more the spectrum, more the bandwidth, more the data rate. So we are solving twin problem with a single technology. You have like a huge chunk of spectrum and you are free. This is something that is obviously benefits are visible. There are bottlenecks as well, but these are the two main benefits of visible light. And VLC is a short range communication. you use LEDs, light emitting diodes, whatever you have in your homes, airports, stations, and in fact in vehicles as a mode of communication. And obviously it has LEDs are everywhere. So the same LEDs with small modifications can be used as a source of transmitter and the receiver with photodetectors. And there has been a growth in terms of lighting technologies concerned, at least in India. We started with fire, then candle, incandescents, old tungsten bulbs, fluorescent. Now every household has the LED. And even all the vehicles have the LED. The same LED can be used in the mode of communication. Now coming back to specifically for visible light based vehicular communication, what are the challenges? If you see during the fog era, the problem what happens in Delhi is that visibility reduces. You might have heard in January, this flight got delayed, that flight got delayed because the visibility parameters reduced from few hundred meters to 250 meters to 10 meters. The same problem what you have in visibility is also carried to the visible light communication. Alright, visible light communication is completely impacted by fog and all these things as well. So that's what I mentioned, sensitive to weather condition. So we studied two different parameters. Can we use visible lights, the lights, whatever you have in your car headlights as a mode of communication. And two impacts we studied. One was a solar irradiance. You got it? So when there is sun, this sun will obviously impact the light. Am I right? Second, what we impact is the fog and the rain. Fog is obviously going to impact the light, as well as the rain is also going to impact the light. Rain also typically visibility reduces, and obviously in fog the visibility reduces. So we did multiple studies. I will again not go into theoretical part of it, sort of boring. So I'll just give the crux of the results what we obtained. So this is a scenario what we considered for solar irradiance, and we considered two different cities. One is London, Virdee city, and one is New Delhi, obviously where we are right now. So we studied two different cities, at least in terms of visible light communication and how the solar impact is there on the visible light communication. So obviously, if you compare London to New Delhi in terms of solar irradiance power is far more in New Delhi as compared to London. So the impact of solar irradiance is more prominent in Delhi as compared to what you have in London. That's a performance here slightly degrading in New Delhi as compared to whatever you have in London. This was the first study what we did, published study. Second, what we did was effect of fog. So fog is again, as I mentioned, a very, very crucial aspects of visible light communication. In order to study the fog, we use this attenuation coefficient and we study the impact of fog on the performance of the vehicular visible light communication system. And we saw that we use a Toyota Corollas headlamp, and this is the pattern of the headlamp, car headlamp. And it's a very neat pattern, as you can see. There are a lot of optical power being distributed, and this is in absence of any weather condition. We are assuming everything is clear, beautiful day in Delhi, and this is the headlamp pattern you will get from the Toyota Corollas. Now, on top of it, if we study the impact of fog, if you see the impact has distorted, the pattern is distorted. This is with respect to dense fog, then light fog, and this is with rain. You see the impact is gradually what we are observing when there is a dense fog or light fog or rain. Your optical power is reducing, and the impact on the light is also, so the communication range is also reducing. This is what we studied. We also added the dry snow and wet snow to complete the picture, and this is the results what we got, the pattern results what we got for different environmental conditions on vehicular based visible light communication. Then what we did was, that is the first part of the study. Then what we said was, what happens if there are other vehicles transmitting at the same time? Because light is something everybody has a right to transmit the light. Am I right? There will be other vehicles that are transmitting at the same time, their headlights on. How will that impact the performance of the desired vehicle communication? So we studied the impact of interference sources on the visible light communication. And we did this. So these are two vehicles, vehicle B and vehicle A, that are trying to communicate, and vehicle C is acting as an interference to these two vehicles. This vehicle A, we are trying to communicate with a simple headlight and tail light, and vehicle C unknowingly is interfering these two vehicles. So that's what I presented. So this is an interfering vehicle. And again, we did a lot of analysis and all these things, and we saw that in presence of weather and in presence of interference, your communication distance is further reducing. It's quite obvious. Previously, we were able to send information till 100 meters. Now, because of fog and because of interference, the distance is reduced to around 50 meters. This is something what we studied with this work. And then we extended this to multiple interference. Suppose there are large number of cars in adjacent lane that are trying to transmit. So obviously, since the number of cars have increased, the interference will also have increased. And this is the results what we got with interference. Again, I will not go into details of it. I will consider three different traffics. Sparse is like morning time in Delhi, 5 a.m. or 4 a.m. Medium is like around 8 a.m. or maybe in the evening of 8 p.m. And the peak is the dense traffic is the peak hours. So obviously peak hours, your throughput per data will decrease. So this is the result what we also got to this study. And this is sort of a performance when we compare our technology with the existing VRF, that is BSRC. And we saw that in normal atmospheric condition, VVLC is very good. But in adverse condition, VRF or the conventional one is good. And this is the pictorial what we got with interference and light and dense fog. And this is again the sheet. There is some sort of modification in the pattern, the car headlight pattern, when there is interference as well as when there is weather impact. And this is the pattern what we got, and this is also published. And this is spider diagram, as Professor Virdee also showed a spider diagram with respect to 5G. In this case, I have plotted with this two complementary technology. One is the VLC, one is the RF. And you can see in this case, the good part about this is that where VLC is bad, RF is good, and where RF is bad, VLC is good. So can I combine these two? Got it, something like that. So can I combine the capability of these two technologies to propose something that is far better than individual? So just to give an example, suppose you are trying to access the internet, and suppose the Wi-Fi sometimes may be good, sometimes the cellular may be good. Is there technology that I can combine these two? You got it? Can I combine the Wi-Fi plus cellular to give you better data rate? Suppose you want to download a movie from Netflix and your Wi-Fi is not working, or Wi-Fi speed is very low. But you can do either or right now. Either you go through cellular or you go through Wi-Fi. You can't do both. Can I do something where I combine the visible light plus existing RF? So your car headlight will also be applicable, and the existing sensors in your car that facilitates wireless sort of communication using the conventional standards is also. So this is what we did in this case. We combined RF plus VLC to propose something like a hybrid or complementary technology. And this is what we did in the next set of study. And as a use case, we took a road intersection as a scenario. Road intersection is a very, very interesting scenario. You see a lot of vehicles are coming up, pedestrian crossing, vehicles crossing, some are breaking the signals, some are not breaking the signals. Can I deploy something like this hybrid complementary technology of VRF and VVLC on road intersections? This is what we did in the next study. And 5 possible scenarios. Again, VLC communication is there, and is communicating via headlight, tail light, or via traffic light. Traffic light again is a sort of a mode of a visible light communication. The traffic lights, whatever you see, can be a sort of a mode of a communication. And we considered, as I mentioned, a road intersection scenario. And we did a lot of work in this one. And what we have observed, I will just slightly go to the results. When we're using hybrid VVLC and VRF, is obviously going to perform better than standalone VVLC and standalone VRF. You got it? So sometimes if your VLC is not working, I will go to VRF, the conventional DSRC or cellular. That is not working, I will go to VLC. I'm getting best of both the worlds. So obviously the performance in this case will be far better than single cellular or single Wi-Fi. This is what we proposed, and this is the results what we got in this case also. This was joint work with 2 of my colleagues, one from Ireland and one from UK. And you see, this is what results what we get. So we give 3 stars, the performance is very good. So we saw that with hybrid, the performance is far better than as compared to standalone VRF and standalone VVLC. So what does it mean is that instead of using only one technology, use both the technology and get best of both the worlds. This is what we saw in this case. And then what we did was that a lot of talk about RIS, reflective intelligent surfaces. Some people call it as IRS, intelligent reflective surfaces, RIS, reconfigurable intelligence. A lot of beta surfaces. A lot of people call it intelligent surfaces. So we started working towards RIS also. So IRS technology is very interesting. So basically, this is the technology that can modify your propagation environment. So just to give a very simple example, suppose you want to make a call from here to your friend. Right now, you only have the control of your wireless transmitter, and the friend has a control only of your receiver. What if I can control the propagation channel as well? I can direct the channel towards the receiver. This is what RIS does. It helps you to basically control the wireless propagation channel. And this is what I'm showing here. Within this beta surface, RIS or IRS can control the propagation channel. And there are a lot of applications of IRS. So either you can do something like a band stop, band pass, beam forming, beam spreading, changing of polarization, a lot of things you can do with this intelligent surfaces. The intelligence in the sense of it can modify your propagation environment. That's why the intelligence is coming into this picture. And we use RIS. Again, I will not go into this one. Again, the road intersection. Now what we said, we are going to use RIS also. So RIS in the sense of it, suppose this yellow vehicle is there. Suppose this yellow vehicle is there, it's trying to communicate with this blue vehicle. You can see this road intersection, and because of this building, this yellow vehicle is not able to see this blue vehicle. What it can do? It can communicate via this RIS back to this blue vehicle. Because of this blockage, it can do something like a reflecting from this intelligent reflective surface. Signal will go from here to the IRS, this building, and this building to this vehicle. So this is what we proposed in this work. And we saw that we compared with the conventional VRF with relaying and all these things. And this is what we did. So with RIS and without RIS, we compared. And this is the results. Again, I will not go into details of the tech. The broad idea is something we incorporate IRS in a road intersection, and we compare the performance of RIS with a conventional relaying, where you have a relay in between transmitter and the receiver. And this is the interesting results what we obtained. So RIS may not always be helpful. It's sort of a contrary to conventional thinking that RIS will always be helpful. IRS will only be helpful after a beyond number of elements. You got it? If the number of elements per IRS is very less, it's of no use of using RIS. You can go with a conventional relaying. The moment you increase the number of elements of RIS, you do a more cooperative beamforming, and because of this more cooperative beamforming, your gain will typically increase a lot. So this is what we observed with this study. So this is what we did in this case. With RIS, obviously performance improves, but you need to have sufficient number of elements in the RIS to improve the performance. And another thing what we did, this is the best paper award. So instead of deploying RIS on the building, we deployed RIS on the road itself. You see, Delhi roads have a lot of speed breakers. Go everywhere in Delhi, a lot of speed breakers will be there. Then we replace some of the speed breakers with IRS. So again, I'm not changing the speed breaker, but changing the properties of the speed breaker. So we'll replace some of the speed breakers with RIS, so that the IRS helps you to communicate between vehicle to the pedestrian or vehicle to another vehicle. So this is the IRS, as you can see. This is the IRS here. There's a vehicle wants to communicate with this vehicle, and it can communicate with this IRS. So this is what we proposed, and this received, as I mentioned, the best paper award. Again, I will not go into theoretical understanding of it, but this is the crux. So this vehicle wants to communicate with this vehicle, and there is IRS here. So it will communicate via this IRS, and it will communicate via this IRS. The two vehicles can able to communicate. Don't need to install IRS on the buildings and all these things. Just install it on the road itself. That's a technology what we propose in this case. And this is the again complicated. This one we have PLC, RIS, and everything. This is a sort of a complex structure where we included everything, and we just evaluated the performance of something like this. So apart from this work, we also did something on the lines of optical networks. I will just briefly go through it in interest of time. So we did something like a wavelength allocation between the vehicles, between the central network and the different vehicles. So different vehicles have different communication requirements. It's just like one size doesn't fit all. Some vehicles want a high throughput data. Some vehicles just want a sensory data, some information about collision. Some vehicles want, I want to download a complete movie from the cloud, the vehicle itself. So different vehicles have different QoS or quality of service requirement. Can I proportionally allocate resources to the vehicles depending upon their requirement? So this is what we proposed broadly in this case. And we saw that with applying machine learning sort of a framework where we use the wavelength allocation depending upon the traffic scenarios and all these things, we can optimally allocate the resources to different vehicles. This is what we did in this case for different applications. And we predicted traffic using this random forest algorithm, and we predicted a vehicular traffic for Minnesota roadways, and we saw that with this data, we tried to optimally allocate the wavelength, and the performance really improves in terms of resource allocation. And one work that we're currently doing, and just again summarize it, is a digital twin. I think a lot of people have heard of this work, digital twin, metaverse, and all this thing. So basically, the idea in this case is that can we replicate a complete vehicle scenario in the cloud? So sometimes it's not possible to make real-time decision on the fly. Am I right? Your vehicle doesn't have the processing power. Neither your mobile phone has the processing power. Can I shift some of the operations in the cloud? Then take some decisions on the cloud, and based on that inferences, pass the decision back to the realistic scenario. Suppose whether I should overtake this vehicle or not, whether there is a pothole in the front or not, whether there is a pedestrian in front or not. Instead of vehicle deciding, I will replicate a complete scenario on the cloud. Cloud will make an inference and get back this data to the realistic scenario. So you save a lot of processing power or computational complexity in the vehicle, moving some of the part to the cloud. So this is what the digital twin framework what we did in this thing. So we replicated the complete vehicle's real world scenario as a digital twin, and based on this inferences, we went back to the real world and showed that with this sort of framework, you can really reduce the complexity, really improve the performance, latency performance, or the communication distance performance. And broadly, what we did is this one. So with this sort of framework in the cloud, we replicated this realistic scenario. This is a pothole, as you can see. This is a vehicle that's trying to overtake and all these things. And based on this inferences, we passed back the information. And then based on this information, some realistic decisions were taken on the road. So this is what we did as a part of this work. And future vehicle communications, metaverse, I think everybody knows where we can integrate a lot of things. As Professor Virdee also mentioned, maybe some sort of integration between digital world, virtual world, and human world. They got it. Something on that sort of integration may be also applicable to the vehicular world. They got it. So this is something that we are currently working on. And if you wish to be a part of it, please feel free to drop me an email. With that, I will conclude today's talk. And thank you. Thanks a lot. I hope I am on time. Any questions if you want, otherwise I can take it offline as well. Okay. Thank you.
कनेक्ट तो हो नहीं पा रहा है ये अभी क्योंकि देखो आई एम ए विलेन राइट नाउ यू नो आई एम बिटवीन योर फूड and the third keynote speaker. So you can treat me like that. तो नेचर भी चाहता है वो ऑफ हो गया है स्टूडेंट को भी भूख लग रही है उन्होंने बंद कर दिया है Well, thank you very much to all of you for coming and having so much of patience for sitting. And all the conditions were not that good as far as the research conference is concerned to attend this conference. You all are coming from different part of the Delhi, and some people are coming from different part of the countries also. Professor Bal Virdee, who is also a very good friend of mine and is a partner in one of my conference, another conference of a conference that is we do at London Metropolitan University. We have done that conference in last June, and in coming June also, we are going to do that same conference. And you all are invited. You can put your papers. The conference is in hybrid mode, and we will, I announce extra 10% discount for all of the registered users, registered authors over there. Okay, so this is another extra discount for all of you. We have already provided 40% of the discount for online presentation because I understand it's very difficult to. Is that start? Okay. So means the thing is, yes. Let me speak about that research. So what is our topic? Is why? Because you all must be wondering that here, one of the key organizing member of this particular conference, and I'm speaking on at the keynote also in this particular conference. the idea behind was that only simple thing is that post COVID, what has happened is that we are not able to meet physically, isn't it? Everything is going is happening at in online mode. I got some complaints also that the schedule was not properly informed and many other things, but that was all just one thing in mind, that we should attend the complete conference, isn't it? See, as far as the research is concerned, high quality papers, you all must be publishing in journals and everything. But what is the importance of conferences? The importance of conference is all the people who are sitting here, we are gathered, we are interacting in the lunch break, in the tea session, everything, and the ideas are getting exchanged, isn't it? The people-to-people contact, that is very, very much important nowadays. In 2020, when we did that particular conference, at that time, around 300 to 400 participants were there, and three-day conference was there, and it was a very good conference, mega conference, and this is the but we are catching up, and the purpose of this conference is the conference. Very frankly speaking, the purpose. So people who are thinking that yes, our main goal is that all the audience should be here, listening to the keynotes, listening to the even the. Do you think that I need a mic? I'm audible to all of you. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
I think if I will be speaking from there, still my voice will be there. Okay. So the thing is, so let me come to the agenda, and why I have kept this workshop is that to increase the number of audience, we invited some of the attendees, and the attendees are French speaking from there, still my voice is speaking from there, still my voice me that they want to attend online, but I requested me come to the agenda, and I hope the agenda is, and enjoying this conference. We have the speaker, if can come from London and can have one-day flight, and from Triple IT, my friend Professor Vivek Bohara is there, and many other dignitaries are there. So you also can come and listen to this, attend the conference physically. So let us come to the agenda: research methodologies and its impact. Okay, so this is a very yes. Next slide, please. Yeah. So this is the outline of this particular. I always like to means roaming on the this thing. On the stage, and then I always like to interact with my this thing. So this is after listening on very, very serious topics like communication, and tomorrow there are the keynotes are on computing. We will be coming to this particular topic, which is very simple. The research. So what do you mean by research? Means research is something, when we talk about research, it's something basically what we are learning something, isn't it? Research means if we are, for example, if I start with, there is a holy book called as Gita. Okay, if we are reading that Gita again and again, we find something new into it, isn't it? So that also goes with the books also. If you are searching something again and again, you will find something new. That is actually the research, is if we divide the research into two parts, that is re and search. And basically the major goal of research is to learn. And what is unexplored, unknown, that is the, and to uncover that knowledge is about the research. When we say that why we are doing the research, the basic purpose of the research is the advancement of the academics. So the thing is, what is a research paper? We should be having that basic definition of research paper. I will be starting with from very simple topic, that is what is the definition of research paper. Then I will be also touching on some of the other aspects of the means where the research is going, what is the direction of particular research. Okay, in short 20-25 minutes, I will not take that much of time because the lunch is ready.
Okay, so as far as as you can see the definition of the scientific research paper, it's a written and published report that with the original results. You all understand this thing. So basically, what is the basic purpose of research paper is when we talk about research paper, when we say that we are writing a research paper, what should be in our mind? First thing is that you are not writing research paper for yourself. This thing you should have in your mind. Obviously, you will be getting some of the advantage in your career or something like that. But when you are writing a research paper, you are writing it for the audience or for the readers. So when the reader is reading the research paper, he should be able to access the observation, because your 3 months, 6 months, or 1 year journey you are writing, you are summarizing your all the results in 6 page to 20-25 pages of research paper, isn't it? So you should be writing, because research paper writing is an art, basically. You have to understand that. You should be learning that. And as far as the undergraduate students are concerned, means you must be wondering that why research is important for us. We are just doing our BTech or something like that. So the thing is, basically, when you are writing a research paper, even if you write for example, survey paper, that is not important. That what is the outcome of your research paper is, as far as the undergraduate students are concerned. Important thing is the journey, the kind of journey you will be doing under your able mentor. And mentor is very, very important. Remember this thing. Selecting a good mentor is very, very important for you, for all the students, because mentor acts as a catalyst. What is the importance of catalyst is, when we talk about catalyst is something which never get used up in a reaction, and it increases the rate of reaction. Similarly, the mentor acts as, like, for example, I am blessed that I got a very good mentor in the form of Professor Abhishek Saru and Professor A.K. Singh. So the thing is, I was talking about the observation, and another important aspect of any research paper is that you should be defining the research paper in a manner that the experiments or the results which you are claiming to be the part of research paper, because obviously unknown results are the part of that research paper. The reader should be able to perform similar experiments and getting same results. So verifiability is another important aspect of the research paper. Okay, so this thing is very, very important nowadays. Means we are writing something, we are putting something, lot of kind of research papers are there. Because what we are, see, as far as the research is concerned, research is not, especially for the BTech students, it is not for, because this workshop is for the attendees only, so I will be concentrating on some of the basic part, then I will go to some of the aspects of the research. I will be touching some this thing which will be interesting for the core researchers. So when I say that, when I say that the importance, what I was telling you about the research papers, that how it is important. Yes, I want an interactive session. If you have any query, you please raise your hand. Yes, be fast. What I was telling you related to research paper as far as the undergraduate students are concerned. Yes, readability or something like that. Okay, see, very fast we can see that why to write research papers. Obviously, it is important that the science should progress. As far as the idea is concerned, I will be giving you a very brief idea about how research is connected with patents, with startups, and obviously the research papers. So when we say that research is something, the fulfilling of the gap. If there is some gap in the knowledge, there we say that the research is happening. When we talk about research, just listen to this concept very carefully, everyone, that when we talk about research is directly related to patents, research is directly related to startup. And we are not only claiming this, we have done this on our ICICC platform in the form of by calling the startup community over here. See, whenever we talk about startups, startup is also something which is a kind of gap is there in the market, isn't it? Again, startup. So, if the research is made mandatory for everyone, then only the India can have the what we say that the goal of that by reaching 2030 or 2047, whatever the goals are defined, without taking the word research as seriously, it is not possible. So everyone should understand the meaning of research, that how it is related to the startup industry. Let me tell you about the startup industry. For example, why the failure rate of the startup is very high. The reason behind that is they does not understand, they not do the market study of, for example, what are the basics of research are there, that related work, or means we are reading lot of papers. When we talk about research paper, then research is something very new. And whenever we say that what is a research is something, a new results are coming out of that particular research paper. So how you can claim that this is the new, these are the new results? Till the time you are not able to understand the exact information which is available in the literature, till 2024, till 2023, how you can be producing the latest research. So having the complete domain knowledge of your area in which you're working is very important as far as the research is concerned. Similarly, the same concept applies to the startup. So obviously the startup community needs that information in a different manner, but the base is same. As far as the patents are concerned, patents is also something which is which are for the economical purposes, isn't it? Some economics is involved into it. So patents also has a base of research. But when we talk about research, when we say is a research paper, we talk about copyrights, we talk about trademarks, we talk about the corporate secrets like Coca-Cola, that particular salt, isn't it? We talk about startup industry. Whenever we are talking, the basic idea behind that is research. Okay, so that is very important, that now you must be thinking startup is copyright is coming, to have the best of the output for that particular research. We are basically registering that idea in a different aspect. It could, if the economics is concerned, then we are going for the patents, isn't it? When if we are writing a research paper or something like that, that information, then research papers are written. Similarly, copyrights are something, design patents are something, isn't it? So these all have the base of research. So why to write the research paper? You all must have read this. So what is the research process? See, whenever we talk about research process, means obviously what is the first thing which comes to your mind should be there is a problem, isn't it? As far as in India is concerned, all the students who are doing their PhD or MTech, they all ask that on what particular topic we should work. This is the biggest question for the students, isn't it? So identifying a problem is the first step, and to see that if that problem has been solved by anyone or not. So that is the simple thing, is to do the literature review, which I was explaining in a correct manner. Another thing is there should be a plan, a kind of hypothesis should be there in your mind, that yes, you have a gut feeling, you should have some kind of analytical skills. Yes, the result is there for that particular gap of that particular research idea, isn't it? So then obviously then you have to solve it, you have to evaluate your solution, you have to compare it, the results with the previous results, previous papers, and then you should be explaining the result part. So as far as the computer science research is concerned, the similar thing is that I'm explaining, that is the same thing. Okay. So the research can be of two types. One is quantitative research, another one is the qualitative research. Now, when we talk about the quantitative research, then it is something that we are measuring something. Okay. We are measuring something that the quantity is getting measured, isn't it? So that is the quantitative research is, and we need large samples for that. Experiment should be repeatable. So that is the quantitative research is about. Next is the qualitative research. When we say that the sample size are small, experiments are not necessarily repeatable, so you can say that the qualitative research is generally done before the quantitative research. Okay, so let us move for like you can just read that the quality research is frequently a precursor to the quantitative research that I was telling you earlier. So this is a very simple process. Just see that the students can see that any research paper getting published is that you write a manuscript with a cover letter, and the new experiments and everything is done, you have added information, then the paper goes to the peer review. You must be wondering that what peer review is. The students must understand it is not that passing a particular examination. Peer is something which is working in my area. Okay, for example, if I'm working in distributed system, another person working in the distributed system is my peer. So whenever I am sending my research paper, that research paper is sent to that particular guy who has some research paper in that particular area. And then we talk about single blind review, double blind review, or some of the terminologies are there. When the author is known, then one kind of blind review is there. If the author and the reviewer both are unknown, then we can say that double blind review process is happening. So here the research is why something, sometimes we say that research is a distributed process. In the distributed process, that a paper is written by someone, it is checked by someone, it is analyzed by another person, and once the paper is written, analyzed, and you get the review comments, the editor-in-chief is another person who is examining that particular paper. So you can see that at multiple platforms, the research is getting validated, whether in the form of peer review or by the editor-in-chief. And we should not be forgetting about that your research is going to be analyzed by the thousands of the readers which are going to read your paper. Nowadays, the research world is facing one problem where the papers are getting retracted. So this is a problem. Okay, so when you are writing huge number of papers, if one or two papers are getting retracted, this is a very critical topic. Then the many research community generally saw it as a kind of big offense has been done by the author. But as far as I am concerned, if you are doing a lot of things, anything can happen. And it is also the responsibility of the platform on which the research is getting published, isn't it? So the process is getting filled up, that then only the non-quality paper is coming into existence. So this is bound to happen. So I will not go into the detail of other things. I was telling you that yes, I will be also touching on some of the areas in which what is happening in current research world. Now, when I was telling you about in my morning session, when I said that the research, we all talk about multidisciplinary research, isn't it? We talk about multidisciplinary research. If we say that, for example, the sir was talking about vehicular ad hoc network. So a vehicle is moving. Vehicle has the mechanical engineer is also there, isn't it? So the communication part has been now part of vehicles, isn't it? We talk about robotics, electrical is there, electronics is there, computer science is there, artificial intelligence is there. Remember this thing, artificial intelligence is a separate branch now. So that's why I'm taking it as a separate branch. So this is basically the multiple disciplines are involved for a single research. Then we say that is a multidisciplinary research. But nowadays, a new terminology has arrived, that is a transdisciplinary research. Now you must be wondering that how the transdisciplinary research is different from the multidisciplinary research. When we talk about transdisciplinary research, the global research now is moving towards transdisciplinary research. The reason behind that the difference between the transdisciplinary research and the multidisciplinary research is the societal, what we can say, the societal impact of the research. It is beyond boundaries. Okay, means when we say that in this particular research, like for example, the vaccine is produced, isn't it? So that is a transdisciplinary research is there there. So as you all are sitting here, I want to tell you that you are the ambassador of research, isn't it? You should be doing your research in a very correct manner. If India has to rise, then we should be thinking on the problems. I'm now touching to another aspect. The transdisciplinary research is over. Because the time is less, I will be just touching you some of the key aspects that where the research is important. See, in India, the major research which is happening is incremental research. Okay. What is incremental research? For example, if the complexity of my algorithm which I have produced is order of n, you all must be understanding because you all are computer science students. So if I give another algorithm and the complexity is log of n, so log of n is higher into number or than the order of n or not? Yes. Lower. So obviously the efficiency is better, isn't it? So that is the incremental research. We made some changes in the data structure, the way the program was moving, and we got the better results. But remember one thing, that we need the problems which are actually faced by the human beings. For the human welfare, when we connect the research with the human welfare, that is more important. When we connect the research with the industry which is facing right now, the industry is facing, the industry could be facing a lot of problems. So what is the difference? The Bal is with us, Bal Virdee, who is from London Metropolitan University. There is a very common practice in UK or in the Western world that the industry and research are not two different things. Okay, both are sides of two different coins. There, I know lot of professors from the Western countries who are heading or are part of the industry team in a research manner. So they are working on those projects which are the need of the industry. Industry is directly reaching to the academia, isn't it? Now, the thing is, why the industry is reaching to the academia? The reason behind that is that the academia has that quality people over there. Here, professor is something different, but in UK or something, the professor has a different reputation. Why he has a different reputation or she has a different reputation? The reason behind that is the work behind them. The same thing has to change. The evolution is happening, and very soon India will be transforming into this thing. I asked a question to the UGC chair or AICICC chair, what is being done for this in India? They have no answers. That is a tragedy. Although I'm standing in a government college, but still, that is a big problem. They don't understand that what actually these things is. Now, I will be touching on another aspect of the research. Although this is a Springer-sponsored conference, we are very thankful to Springer, but still, I want to ask some of the questions which everyone should have at least in their mind. That you are writing a research paper, isn't it? You are writing a research paper. You are writing a research paper. Research paper is getting reviewed by a different person who is also another researcher, and all the benefit is going to whom? I will not say anything else. So these are some of the very far-reaching questions, the kind of evolution which should be addressed very soon, isn't it? We are now, the free journals are not available. We are moving to the open access. So open access means, as far as the Western world is concerned, they have their funding or something like that. Like I also have a project, so I can publish my paper in open access. Another important thing I want to tell you is that open access is not that bad. Remember this. We have something in the people who are into the who are on the top of the academics think that open access research papers are bad papers. No, that is not. My maximum reviews, I wrote a paper with Professor Abhishek Swarup, and the maximum number of the reviews I got from the censors, it is an open access. Maybe more than 2 lakhs Indian rupees is a piece for that particular paper. So important thing is that we are moving to the open access. Although quite confusing aspects are there, that from where the funding will come to publish that research, isn't it? But I talked about the remuneration and the other things of a researcher, but one more important thing is that not a single Indian publisher is there into the research arena, and Indian government is not bothered about that. We have UGC care of list. Why don't we have something like Scopus, something like Clarivate indexing in India? Huge number of research papers which we are writing, with same research paper, if my friend has written, if I want to read that paper, I need to download it from a paid indexing, isn't it? So these are some of the open-ended questions. But important thing is, the Western world has a legacy. Now, I am asking so many questions. What is the solution for that? The solution is the collaboration, the kind of collaboration we are trying to have with London Met. So they have the legacy, isn't it? So that legacy means they have legacy of 200 years of research. And India has just emerged as far as the research is concerned. And in India also, the kind of difference is there between the research is that South India is comparatively ahead than us as far as the North India is concerned. And we go into the East, Assam, Kolkata, they are comparatively the good quality researchers are there. Although Delhi has, obviously, I not consider Delhi as someone is different set of, because it's a cosmopolitan city. So obviously the quality researchers will be here. So these are some of the important points which I want to do. Remember one more thing, that when we are talking about research papers, then there is a problem which the research world is basically facing, is that the tortured phrases. We talk about tortured phrases. Now, what is a tortured phrase is? See, when we say that what is a tortured, see, forget about if I will be going with this thing with the slides, then you will be eating your food at 3 o'clock. I think you not want that. You want or not? No? It means I'm not speaking that well. Should I continue or not? Okay. So the thing is, I was talking about the tortured phrases. See, what is happening is there is quality. The people who follow the straight path and who follow the wrong path are always everywhere, isn't it? Lot of things are happening in Chinese or many other countries. That some of the countries that is happening is that how the research is getting copied is that, for example, machine learning. Now, important thing is, if a quality research paper is there and you want a new paper out of it, is you have to paraphrase it, you have to remove the plagiarism. Simple thing is that now machine learning word, for example, is used 100 times in a research paper. So now machine and learning will be, the word will be, the synonyms of those words will be used. So that is a tortured phrase. Okay. So this is another kind of plagiarism which is happening in the research world. So remember this thing, that your paper is going to be read by thousands of authors. So not do these things by paraphrasing or by by taking the synonym, by reducing the plagiarism with the wrong means. It should not be done. Never. Okay. Follow a simple path. Write a research paper and always check the plagiarism. Now AI tools are also available. AI tools are available now in Turnitin and Authenticate everywhere. So the AI related matter will also come. So these are some of the important points. Now you can see a brain, which has, why we talk about balanced brain. Balanced brain is we always say that if a region is for logic and reading, another region is creativity and writing. And for research paper writing, we need everything, isn't it? So that's why the balanced brain is needed. So as far as the beginning is concerned, I've already explained this thing to you. Review is more important. Okay, so these things. So why reading and writing are interconnected? So left side is because I've already shown that you in the slide. So what is literature review? Means, for example, if you read 50 papers, you must be wondering that these 50 papers are not going to become part of my paper. No, when you are reading a research, those 50 papers, that some of the research papers could be your citations, could be part of your references, not citation, could be part of your references. Citation is different. Citation is that a paper is there and we're citing it, isn't it? So now next thing is, what are the base? We always, when we search a research paper, we generally go to the Google, but the better is Google Scholar. Okay, there are other, some of the libraries are available with some of them are mentioned, like IEEE Explore Digital Library is there, but for that, the institution should have a paid access to that. Okay, so these are some of the, now, as far as when we are reading a research paper, now, for example, there is a lot of question comes to me that we have a research paper, how to read that. So when you're downloading a research paper, for example, download at least 50 research papers of your area. Okay, my guide always used to tell me that download 100 research papers, out of that 5 or 10 will be yours. Okay, so when we download those 50 papers with the help of the title, just read. You have to give only 5 minutes or 10 minutes maximum to one paper. 5 minutes for one paper. You just have to read the abstract. If the abstract is matching with your area, then you should be. Now, what my guide explained, and explaining the same to you, that divide the research papers into most important, important, and are not in context. So you have 3 different folders with 3 different dates. Research is also making you a more organized person. Remember this thing. That's why we say that why research is important for everyone. Even if the BTech students are going for MBA or for startup or for marketing, the research is important. This journey will help you definitely in your future career. So after the skim reading, you have to do the scan reading, then detailed reading, and then the intense reading. Obviously, the intense reading is done for only few of the papers, 2, 3, 4 papers. So after reading those papers, you also get an idea that how the research world is actually validating that particular research, isn't it? For example, if you're doing, I will take some simple examples. If, for example, if for a research area, you are simulating that in a Java, but that area is getting, for example, simulated in C++. So you need to go to the Java. Or if you are going for C++, you should be mentioning that thing, that why the C++ is important for your area. Maybe a different area is coming. Research is something, obviously, something new is coming. So many research papers, we develop simulators. Different simulators are designed. Do you understand this thing? The young researcher should know this thing, that a different language is designed for a research paper. That kind of simulator. We developed that kind of simulator in my research with my mentor. Okay, so it was near to NS2, but still some of the libraries were included into that. So ethics are concerned, you all know that who should be the author, it is necessary for the citation, plagiarism. Okay, some of the facts. When we talk about the books, we say that how the number of books should be higher in number, or the research papers should be higher in number when we are saying that they are getting produced in a year. Remember this thing, the books are higher in number. So you can just imagine the importance of a research paper, the kind of effort which is given to a research paper. So now we talk about the fraud, the research fraud. Research fraud could be anything. It could be higher plagiarism related issues or copying of information. The different level of the crimes are there. But we say that only the 2% researchers have committed fraud. Is that true? Yes. Just tell me, is that true or wrong? False. Only 2% have done that? No. Or yes? Because only 2% were caught. Isn't it? So that is a thing. Okay. So who is an author? You all understand what is citation, when to cite, plagiarism. So I will be just, plagiarism. Plagiarism is something, the information which is available in a different source area. So, IEEE 5 degrees of plagiarism. These are, that entire article is taken, 20 to 50%, below up to 20%. Uncited paraphrasing. So these are the different level of the kind of crimes which can be done as far as the plagiarism is concerned. Self-plagiarism. This is another area of research. When we are writing, for example, I was working on mutual exclusion. Mutual exclusion was coined in 1964 by Dennis Brown. So when I will be writing a research paper on that particular topic, obviously that the lot of flag will come, because huge number of papers have worked on this particular area. So this is another debate, that how much amount of plagiarism should be allowed, and it is continuously getting decreased, okay, due to the crime which is happening. One more type of crime which is happening is, that research paper are not only written in English, it is also written in Portuguese language, it is also written in many other. So what some smart people are doing is just converting those language. I'm not telling you to do this. I'm telling you that this is happening. Okay. So these are the shortcuts which are being used. So multiple submission. This is another problem. We faced this very recently. One of my author submitted paper at 2 places, and it was a big problem then. So we should not be doing this. The paper sending to 2 different locations simultaneous. Now you must be thinking that I will be sending this paper to Springer and I am sending this paper to elsewhere. How the libraries are going to check, isn't it? Because paper is taking, they are taking 1 year. Important thing is that your paper can land up to the same reviewer, isn't it? Because reviewer is not bound by the publishing house. So then the big problem will come for you. Okay, so remember this thing. Because see, what is the crime behind this? What is the wastage of resources is happening? A reviewer is giving his important time for that particular research paper, and after a particular level of the research, that if the paper is getting accepted and you are not claiming that paper into that particular journal or something, so it's like wasting of resources. So that's why the journals or the research world take this very seriously. Copyright transfer. So it's like you have given birth to a research paper and you are handing that over to another publishing house. So that is a copyright transfer. Means you are giving the copyrights to the journal or the publisher, and they can do anything with that particular paper. They can earn or they can make it open access. It's up to them. So you cannot place that research paper on the public forums, even your own research papers. Fabrication of data, selecting the venue, obviously means as far as the research papers are concerned, we talk about review articles, letters, conference articles, original research. Okay, selecting where to submit means we always say that we want the paper in transactions and something, but we have to do the hard work also. When we talk about transaction, lot of mathematics need to be there in the paper, isn't it? So these are some of the means. Your aim should be up to the level which you are targeting. So the thing is, now selecting a conference. Obviously, you should select a conference like ICICC in a very simple. Obviously, isn't it? So I need not be defining that how to select a conference. You can see that its research papers are getting indexed in Scopus or the various this thing, and their paper are not getting retracted. They have good citation, like I was telling you that ICICC has a H index, this much number of H index, this much number of citations I was telling. So this is something we are developing a legacy. So you should be part of those conferences. So open access journal, I have already told you, there are types of open access like green open access, gold open access, hybrid open access. I am not going to tell you the details, but I will be sharing the slides with you. Okay, special issue. So this is something, it might come on our faces when we talk about special issue, because special issue is something, the faster way of getting published your paper in a Scopus or SCI journal. Generally, what is happening is that special issue is, like for example, if you are submitting your paper in a regular journal, then what happens is after 1.5 years, you will get that we are not having a reviewer of your area. Isn't it? So this is a very big problem which we are facing right nowadays. So special issues are something, the people like us who are managing those special issues, but it also has a lot of problems. So these are some of the journal performance indicators, Clarivate indexing, Scopus, SJR, DDLP, many others are there. Now this is another SCI, ESCI, SCIE, SSCI, and AHCI. These are the various indexings kind of. Okay, so when we talk about SCI, that is a Science Citation Index, and when we say about SCIE, the Science Citation Index expanded. SCIE and SCI are same almost. They have the same level of quality. The SCI are the old conventional journals when it was not online. Now when everything is available on online, so that is the part of expanded list. So but the level is same. Okay, ESCI is Web of Science, emerging, which could be part of SCI. So it's also good to part of submitting your paper, because there is a competition between Web of Science and Scopus. So Both are good. So, but in India, the more famous is Scopus. We will publish our paper in a Scopus index one. Isn't it? All the other. It is Scopus index or not. So, something like that. So, there are other citations like different areas are there. Medical is there, social science is there. So, all have different. So, difference I've already explained you. So, to identify the web of science, you should always remember one thing, another important thing, that lot of journals are taking the claim that they will publish your paper. I'm going to tell you one very important point. Listen this very carefully. That lot of journals and middlemen are claiming that your paper will be published in blah blah Scopus journal. But remember this thing, always check that journal, how many number of papers are getting published by that particular journal. If that is in 10, 20, 30, then it is fine. But if the journalist has started publishing a lot of research paper in a particular year, then it is very soon it is going to be removed from Scopus list. One aspect is that. Second, because now when earlier 2-3 years back, the Scopus was evaluating the journals yearly. Now it is monthly. Remember this thing. So, and one more thing, there are some fake websites are also there. Remember this thing. There are certain fake websites which are clone of Scopus journals. What they do, they make it online and they take the fees. But important thing is, remember this thing. See, as far as our conference is concerned, this conference is publishing your paper. Is that correct? Is that correct that the conference is publishing your paper? No. We are not publishing your research paper. Remember this thing. अभी सब मेरे पे भागते हुए आना मत. Please, मैं आपको एक सच्चाई बता. We are just the validators of research papers. Papers are published by publishing units like Springer, like elsewhere, like ACF. We are the validators. Okay, they trust us because we do the process in a correct manner. We have that kind of eye that which paper can be published or not. So that's why we are the validators of the research. So similarly, when the Scopus journal, obviously if journal is something, yeah, journal is publishing your paper. That is fine. But getting indexed into the Scopus is a different thing. So these are the cases which are coming that, and lot of young researchers doing their PhD are facing this problem. I get calls from many people in a weekly or 2-3 days. I get one call that my paper was published, but that is not coming on Scopus and this thing. So the simple thing is not follow a simple path, shortcut. Don't take a shortcut. Take good journals. The good things never happen easily, isn't it? So the thing is, you should be following the conventional paths. Young researchers, especially, very, very important for us. Okay, so because you are into your you are starting your research journey, although it should be, it lies on everyone, including me, and the people sitting in the front, everyone. But yes, especially for young researcher, you should see what is the research is. Research, you're not going to become a scientist, that all the researchers are not going to be publish paper that you become a Mr. India, that I will be I'm creating a watch and clicking something or I'm gone. No, it's not like that. All the researchers are not like that. But important thing is the journey. I'm repeating it again. The important thing is the journey. So that journey should be according to the rules and regulation, what have been given by the conventional mentors. And they will always tell you, but now it's up to you to follow the path or not. So means you must be wondering that this is the impact factor of a particular journal. You must be thinking, isn't it? There is an impact factor. How the impact factor is calculated? See, you can see the 2000 impact factor of X journals is calculated as follows. IFX, the impact factor of X journal, that all the citation in 2010 to the articles published in Journal X in 2009 and 8. So this is the ratio to calculate the impact factor. You also will be watching that medical journals have very high number of very high number of impact factors. The impact factor also depends on the number of citations which are coming, number of researchers working in that particular area. So sometimes it is not justified. There is a debate. Another important aspect. There is a debate that higher impact journals are good or the best. No, this is not the truth, isn't it? If you go to US, if you go to the Western world, there are researchers are not bothered about publishing their papers in Scopus journals, in SCI journals. This is a fact I'm telling you. So they are publishing their papers. The journal is just a way of sending your paper to the globally. It's like sending a paper globally so that everyone can access to it. The target of research paper is not getting you the kind of advantages. It's about the disseminating of the information. You are spreading the information to the outer world, and the number of people who are reading your research papers and are reusing that research paper into their articles, that is another level of research. That's why we claim the top 2% researchers, research.com, where the citations are very high. There is another kind of crime which is happening to increase the number of citations. So these all are some open-ended questions which I am telling very openly. And so some of the disadvantages of impact factor I've already explained you. Alternative to impact factors is also there. There is another impact factor. Yes. See, do you understand by the what you have understood by the indexing? Can anyone tell me now what is indexing is? Scopus, SCI, what they are doing actually? Please. Just raise your hand and one line, whatever you think. What is coming to your mind? See, they are basically like ISI marker is there or not in India. This is a ISI marked electrical equipment. Similarly, indexing is something they are basically checking the journal or the conference or the series on certain parameters. So if that certain parameters are okay, then the indexing is provided. So that is a simple thing is that I was asking that why not the similar indexing is coming in India, where 1.4 billion people are there, and by default we are going to have lot of researchers in near future. So why not to have all the research papers under our area, isn't it? So we just have UGC Care. UGC Care is also the group of the journals. It's not an indexing. So difference between Q1, Q2, Q3 and Q4, and how to identify the Q1 and Q2 status. Publon ID. I was telling you about ES. ES is again ES is another indexing which is checked in China or the Eastern countries like Scopus. So ORGANISED ID. This is very important. All the researchers should have the ORGANISED ID. Open researcher and contributor ID. The unique ID, like IP address is a unique number. Similarly, you should also have a ORGANISED ID. The difference between Web of Science and Scopus, I've already explained. Google Scholar, DVLP, and you must be very happy now. Thank you very much. So I am open for the questions. If you have, I think, do you have any question or not? No? All questions I have answered. Thank you so much. So this is all about. Now, after this, we will be moving to the lunch. But before that, I want to announce, I will just take a 2 minutes more, that basically you can see this. You can see this